guys, it's Daniel. Talk with Brandon. Today we're talking about instincts. I'm talking about I'm gonna step back. I was gonna do all three instincts in one video. But then I realized if I do that, I'm gonna miss like a good chunk of kind of crucial information about instincts and how it plays out in a lot of the world around them. So I'm gonna break it down in like various little videos. I'm gonna do like a general overall about instincts today. Remember in episode 2, I ran through the main instincts. Instincts, they drive each type and how they express themselves. There's 3 different instincts: self-preservation, sexual or one-on-one, and social. The 3 different instincts. And there's all those instincts exist inside of us, even if they're not all the same, even if they're not all equally the same. One is more dominant than others, or they're equally all the same. Self-preservation they're focused on health, security, and survival. That's basically what self-preservation is. You're preserving yourself. There's the sexual, or one-on-one as it's often called in the Enneagram. It seeks intensity and passion and deep connection with people. And there's also a social instinct, which is concerned with status and belonging in relation to people. And some information I'm going to talk about is from the Subtypes class, like Enneagram Summit. Some of it's going to be from you type what are Enneagram instincts, and I think that's it. And some ChatGPT probably, and whatever. So, yeah, an Enneagram Institute. So instincts are the most fundamental part of our everyday life. There's 3 layers of instinct. There's a dominant layer, a middle layer, and a repressed layer. Basically, dominant layer is the most developed instinct. The middle is second developed, and often helps the dominant instinct. The last one is the repressed and least developed instinct out of the 3. Some dominant instincts can make a countertype. For example, with the type 4, you normally read in the Enneagram books that type 4 is a very moody, very dramatic, very emotional, very melodramatic, very soft, whoa, what's me? They start crying because everything just sucks. Kind of deal. But for 4s, if their self-preservation instinct, they fight against that woe is me mindset that is often portrayed, and they will tend to come off as a little more grounded, practical, and very not as emotionally charged as the Enneagram 4 normally is. So they look like a 1, they don't look like their type, which is what countertype basically means. And I actually took a test with the Enneagram Institute, and basically my stacking, I paid like $20 for the Instinctual variant quiz to kind of figure out my type. If you remember, I said in episode 2 that I knew I was self-pres, but that instinct shifted. For me, I was self-preservation growing up as a kid, because that's how I managed to survive. I stuffed my feelings inside of myself and I buried it. But now as I'm older and I want that connection with people, there's some really deep friendships I have that I feel I have, that I want more emotional connection with and more intensity with. And I was just like, oh, because at my core, inside of my heart, and everything, I really want that connection with people, and I chase that.
Thought I knew the way, I thought that everything was real, but something deep inside kept tugging at my soul. Blinded by the screen, but I'm about to crack the code.
I thought I was more like a sexual one-on-one 4, because they really value relationships and stuff, but I'm kind of self-preservation still for being, when I get out of my feelings, I can really just deal with life and realize my feelings don't really matter too much. Yeah, they matter to me,
but I don't have to express all my feelings. With 6s, unlike with 5s, 6s are more oriented about when they think and feel about stuff with people. And I was oblivious to that for the longest time. But that makes sense for me because I'm always concerned about the group. Like, I notice something that's kind of off. Normally, I have my moments where I'm a little bit like all caught up in myself because I can be very self-absorbed. And I can make it about me. And I can be like, oh, I'm the only one that's different because everyone else is all the same and they don't notice me. And I can get all like, I'm over here, you're over there, and you all are over there. You'll never come over to me. I am split up by an imaginary wall. And that wall is always around me, and you'll never get into this wall. That makes me apart. I'm not like everybody else. I'm different. I'm either above you guys, or I'm below you guys, but I'm not in the same level as you guys.
I don't know what was in front of the instinct. I don't know what's my dominant instinct now. So, I did my test, and I'm going to give you my score I got. So, the total scores that I have a 59 score in the sexual instinct. Sexual meaning one-on-one bonding. Sexual is also defined as, in their quiz results, extending ourselves and the environment and through generations, like procreational type of energy. Second is self-preservation at a score of 50 for me. Preserving the body and life itself and functioning. The next one is social, which is at 41. I'm not sure what that looks like stacked wise, if it wasn't developed really. But social instinct, according to the book, according to the Enneagram Institute's Instinctual Variant Quiz, is getting along with others and forming secure bonds. If I could actually read. Yeah. And some of that's going to be from the subtypes testing too, about like some of the subtype classes. So when I mean subtype in the Enneagram Summit, they basically define it as instincts plus the drive equals subtype. The drive meaning the type. So self-pres plus the type 4 equals self-preservation 4 subtype. Sexual plus 4 equals sexual 4 subtype. And they all look differently. We all use these instincts and drives. And they were all deep inside of us. They're unconscious. We don't often think about them until after we look at them and be like, oh, I do that. Balancing out your instincts. Because ideally we do have 3 layers: the dominant, the middle ground, and then the repressed. But you can work to bring the repressed up and bring the dominant instinct down. So it's about the middle ground. So they're all level across. And we use each instinct accordingly to how we need to function and survive. And I didn't realize initially, like I mentioned in the last video, about I read the book Road Back to You, Enneagram Self-Discovery. And in that book, they never talked about subtypes and instincts. And I found out why, because Ian, one of the guys that actually talked about who wrote the book, co-authored the book, he didn't learn about subtypes until about 2010 to 2015. And Road Back to You's back in 1994. So there went not only a decade, but almost 2 decades worth where that wasn't even a thought. And Beatrice Chestnut said in her masterclass on the Enneagram subtypes that subtypes were very unclear and vague back in the early years, like in the 90s, back when she got into it. She didn't learn about the subtypes until about 2004. So literally it's still kind of relatively new to the Enneagram circle talks. Basically, the nice thing about subtypes is it helps you figure out about yourself, and it helps you narrow that focus down. I know I'm a 4. Great. I know I'm a 4-wing 5. Okay, that gives me a little more insight. But if I know I'm a sexual 4-wing 5, that focus is narrowing down further from all the information. I have the 5's influence. I'm more deeply connected about one-on-one stuff. And I'm a type 4, so I have all the emotional underpinnings of the type 4. That's funneled through not only the 5-wing influencing me, but my instinct being the driving force and running me basically unconsciously is something I don't think about all the time. Until I'm aware of it and be like, oh, so I'm this way. Okay. And then learning about yourself. In one of the other classes by Lisa Vischer, called Sometimes the Complex How Instincts Shape Values, Priorities, and Partnerships. The instincts are our physiological wiring. Our type is our psychological wiring. The physiological wiring is something that's really close to us, that's deep in our bones. It's how we operate. It's where we direct our attention, and then we can observe the patterns of that and how it manifests. It's where we get our energy. We can identify how we allocate ourselves in those 3 realms of like, okay, my socialness, my sexualness, my self-preservationness. And often, like, okay, for example, like with me being a sexual 4, my values are intimacy, creativity, and impact. I want to be known. I want to make a great difference in the world. I want to be seen. I want to be valued. And I want to grow. That's what I value. What's my beliefs inside of my instinct. The priorities I take, the action steps I take, would be like quality time with a partner, or attracting somebody to me. Fusing with somebody. There was a lot of fusing talk with the sexual energy. Like if you look at the sexual 9, they want almost merge to become like another person's shadow almost. And they lose themselves in that realm. Deep conversations, intimacy, catalyzing growth is something that the sexual type values. Not just about like the whole undertones of like sexual intimacy, like life's beyond just sex. Some people don't even have sex, so you know. And how that affects in conflict and stuff like that too. Like our instincts can cause conflict because we may not align on the type of thing, how we see things. It's pretty much all that I have in here. I have like a crap load of notes about like the subtypes, so that'd be like a fun thing to talk about down the road when I have a more concise thing I want to talk about without deep diving into everything. But yeah, I think next week I'm gonna actually talk about what I learned about back before I did this whole kind of fly off into the Enneagram Summit, and talk about the instincts and kind of break them down a little bit more. And actually focus in on like what is like a self-preservation instinct and how that might manifest in the world and each type. And I'll follow that route with social and sexual, or I may do sexual first. I'm not sure. I don't really know. And maybe I'll do my own like what the instinctual variant quiz gave up, because I have it saved in I have a PDF file saved for that, so I might actually break that down so you guys can look at it if you want. I took the quiz on Enneagram Institute. I paid $20, 37 questions, and they broke it down as like, I am most like this, I am least like this, and that's how they basically created your instinctual stack. So that's pretty much all I have to talk about, guys. I hope you guys have a good weekend, have a good week going forward. We'll talk to you guys again. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye, guys. Take care. Be present to life. Be true to yourself. Bye, guys.